There is a significant amount of cards to go over for this week. We've got 2 brand new leaders. We've got the full spotlight decks for each of the Qui-Gon and Maul leaders that we saw at the beginning of the cycle, plus a smattering of other random cards to go through. Again, per the past, we're not going to go over every single card because not every single card is valuable, but we are going to go over a lot more than we have in the past couple of weeks because one of the leaders that's previewed seems to have a fairly significantly large limited package that's going to make her very viable in that format, but not viable thereafter. HARK! We got a lot to go through, so let's get started with our first leader. Our first leader of the week is a leader that most people were expecting. We saw her in some of the key art. We know that there's going to be a lot of support for this specific thing in the set because we were told Legend of the Force was going to feature some heavy knight presence, which is really cool. We've got no less than 9 previews associated with this leader in various different forms, and there's going to be a very interesting design you'll see here with this that I think is going to potentially put this at an Anakin level card for limited in Legends of the Force. We have Mother Talzin, powered through magic with a K. This is our Vigilance Villainy Force Knight leader. As an action, you can exhaust her, use the Force, and give a unit -1/-1 for this phase. 5 resource epic action flip into a 3/7, which provides you an on attack. You may give a unit -1/-1 for this phase. This is a common number 002 out of LOF. Fantastic card here for limited. It's a common leader, so she's going to pop up often. It's a good use of the Force if you don't have your other use the Force applicators out there. You are going to be generating off of your base pretty much the entire time, although there are a couple of other cards we've seen before and we'll see again that just generate the Force as a result. Giving you access to -1/-1 allows you to finish off a unit if it's got 1 health left, allows you to generate the ability to attack into something without taking too much damage back. There's a lot of cool things you can do with a -1/-1 penalty to plague, we'll call it, to an opponent. And then obviously when she comes out as a 3/7 on 5, which is good stats for a 5, you could just flat out give something -1/-1 for the phase, which is quite good in limited. In terms of competitive, I don't think she's there. But the developers decided to give all of her support, or the vast majority of her support, into 2 rarities, common and uncommon. Next up, we have Karis. We don't like strangers. This is a 2-cost Vigilance Villainy ground unit, 2 power, 4 health, Force Knight. When defeated, you may use the Force. If you do, give a unit -2/-2 for this phase. This is an uncommon number 031 out of 264 in Legends of the Force. So Karis is one of your initial early uses of the ability to be able to give a bigger -- penalty to your opponent when she gets defeated. She's a 2/4, so she'll stick around for a little bit longer. She can attack, generate the Force, and if she gets defeated, you then get to use the Force to either finish off a unit, kill another unit, or hamper another unit that's coming out, which is quite good. Now, Roll On Gaming also had 2 previews that are relatively associated with Mother Talzin, one directly and one indirectly. Link in the description below to that video. We're starting up with Talzin's Assassin. This is a 4-cost Vigilance Villainy ground unit, 4 power, 4 health, Force Knight traits. When played, you may use the Force. If you do, give a unit -3/-3 for this phase. This is number 35, a common out of 264 in LOF. So, Karis is an uncommon, Talzin is a common. This is a very good card because you have much more control on when you're going to be able to use the Force to get the bonus, and it is a bigger penalty to your opponent's units that, again, allows you to push the attack through without taking too much damage, finish off a unit, or just straight up delete something with 3 health, which is, again, quite good. Next, we have Ataru Onslaught. Really quickly, this is a 2-cost Aggression Learned event. Ready a Force unit with 4 or less power. This is an uncommon, number 174 out of 264 in LOF. Great art here. We have the fated Duel of Fates between Qui-Gon and Maul. Very cool card here. It's another one of those ready a unit, hope it doesn't die, you get to do a thing. It costs 2, but it's a Force unit and you can do more power as a result. So that's pretty good. It might be usable with the Mother Talzin, especially in limited, because Talzin herself is a 3/7, Karis is a 2/4, the Talzin's Assassin is a 4/4. There's some stuff you could potentially do with it, but it's more just, it was part of the preview process. I think it's an okay card, but it is going to be one of those things that isn't going to see a lot of play because things like K-Turn and Keep Fighting also don't really see that much play. Next up, we've got some cards from Late Night Gaming. Link in the description below for their video. We're starting off with Old Daka, Oldest and Wisest. This is a 5-cost Vigilance Villainy ground unit, 6 power, 6 health, Force Knight traits. When played, you may defeat a friendly Knight unit not named Old Daka. Then you may play that unit from your discard pile for free. This is an uncommon, number 36 out of 264 in LOF. So this is your capstone that helps you do some cool combo stuff. You play Old Daka, you defeat one of your units, and then you bring it back to be able to utilize either a when played or when defeated. It does not require you to use the Force, so you can save your Force to be able to use on something else, i.e. you defeat a Karis, use the Force, give something -2/-2, bring Karis back, or you defeat Talzin's Assassin, bring her back, when played, use the Force, give something -3/-3. Lots of really cool duplication of when played or when defeated abilities. This also is pretty handy in Thrawn 4, I guess is what we're calling it, if you're using a lot of Knight traits that have the when defeated, because you can duplicate those. Just as a reminder, if you don't have the ability to get the Force back in between triggers, you are unable to utilize those twice, but there might be some other when defeateds we might see in a second that don't require the Force to be able to do so. Speaking of, Night Sister Warrior, 2-cost Vigilance ground unit, 2 power, 2 health, Force Knight traits. When defeated, draw a card. Super easy. Common, number 59 out of 264 in LOF. This is probably going to be your primary target for Old Daka, so you can keep getting those draw cards. You Old Daka, defeat the Night Sister, get a when defeated trigger on something else, get the when defeated trigger on the Night Sister Warrior herself, and then draw a card, bring her back so she can be defeated again to draw another card. And that is fantastic. We also have Soresu Stance, 1-cost Vigilance learned event. Play a Force unit from your hand, paying its cost, and give a shield token to it. This is an uncommon, number 76 out of 264 in LOF. Another stance that allows you to do something cool. This just plays a Force unit from your hand and gives you a shield, which can be very handy if you want to protect your stuff. And only for one, it's basically like Moment of Peace back from SOR, but it's specifically allowing you to also play a Force unit in addition, which is pretty darn cool. Lastly, in this batch, we've got 3 units from the Maul starter deck that are going to be a part of the main set, but are in the Maul Spotlight deck that allows you to do cool things. So we have Thralls of the Coven. This is a 5-cost Aggression Villainy ground unit, 3 power, 7 health, Knight trait, raid 3. So this is a 6/7 on attack. This is a common, number 136 out of 264 in LOF. Super easy to use, 5 cost, 3/7, attacks for 6. Fantastic. It's Knight, so it meshes with the other Knight things. Unfortunately, it is not Force, so you can't gain the Force as a result of that. But there's another base we'll see later that potentially can combo with this to be able to give you the Force on each of your turns that you do so. Next, we have Witch of the Mist. This is a 1-cost Aggression ground unit, 1 power, 3 health, Force Knight traits, hidden, so it can't be attacked if it was played this phase. This is a common, number 154 out of 264 in LOF. Short, easy to use unit. It's going to get you the Force if you're using the common base. If you're not using the common base, it's hidden. You can still plink other things whenever you're potentially ready to attack on the next turn. And then our last Knight for this batch is going to be the Infused Brawler. This is a 2-cost Aggression ground unit, 2 power, 2 health, Force and Knight traits. When played, you may use the Force. If you do, give 2 experience tokens to this unit. When this unit completes an attack, defeat an experience token on it. This is an uncommon, number 156 out of 264 in LOF. You end up playing, if you have the Force, you can 2-cost 4/4 unit coming down, which is quite good. And each time it completes an attack, you would defeat an experience token. So you can attack twice to get it down to a 2/2. You can Old Daka it away, replay it, use the Force, bring back the 4/4. Then that just gave you, what, 10 worth of stats for 5? That's pretty good in terms of what you can do. All of these pieces together provide a combo base for Mother Talzin that allows you some extra cool stuff to do. Again, I don't think this is going to be super strong in Premiere, but what it does is that with an uncommon, a common, an uncommon, a common, a common, a common, and an uncommon. You can see a lot of these pieces that'll work together for you to give you exactly what you need in a Mother Talzin deck. No problem at the two lowest rarities that you'll see the most cards from in both sealed and draft. This is the probably going to be the premier draft archetype, much like Anakin was in set 3, because there's just so many strong things you can do with what you've got. You're going to have access to the Force at all times because of the common bases, and if you pull the rare red base, well, that's going to be some extra interesting stuff you can pull off with your units, and that is Mother Talzin. This is the section of the video of preview season where I would normally go through the 2 deck lists that are associated with each leader that comes into these spotlight decks for the set. Last time we had the Han and we had the Boba, all this other stuff. Per statements that I've made before, not everything is of value. Honestly, given what we've seen of the Maul deck, I don't think it's good. I don't think it's going to be viable. I think it's going to be one that sits on the shelf for a long time. With the Jump to Lightspeed Spotlight decks, I felt both of them were pretty good, pretty playable out of the box. Maul, I don't necessarily agree, but Qui-Gon Jinn's got a ton of really good stuff that's going to be coming out of it. So we're going to go over the deck list. We're going to go over key cards from this deck list and how Qui-Gon, again, continues to push towards being the absolute best leader coming out of set 5. So here's the Qui-Gon deck list. We've got 1 Qui-Gon Jinn and 1 Jedi Temple. We have reprint rare Maz Kanata from set 2, reprint rare Ahsoka Tano from set 4. We have 1 Luke Skywalker, which we saw before, that was the heroism only. Luminous Beings, which we haven't seen yet, but we will in just a moment. Reprint Sneak Attack. 3 of the Anakin Skywalker starter spotlight abilities, special, whatever we want to call it. Rarity, that's the 1 cost hidden shielded Anakin. We have 3 Refugees of the Path, that's the give a Force unit Sentinel or a Sentinel shield, whatever it is. It's not a great card. Doesn't really matter what it is. 3 Curious Flocks, 2 reprint R2D2s, this being an uncommon, I believe it's the one from set 3. We have 3 Youngling Padawans. This is going to be one of the strongest cards you can play in this. We have 3 of the green Obi-Wan Kenobis, specifically from the Spotlight deck. 2 new Maz Kanatas, which we'll go over. 2 new J-type Nubian Starships, not very good. 3 Jedi Sentinels, which we have seen already. 2 Paladin Training Corvettes, which is a fun card, but I'm not entirely sure how good it's going to be, but it does represent one of the cooler ships from the Old Republic. We have 3 of the Qui-Gon Jinn's Aether Strike, which we already know what that does. 2 Stinger Mantis. 2 Depa Baliba, absolutely insane card. 2 Kelleran Bex, also a very good card. 2 reprint Tri-Droid Suppressors from set 3. 3 Qui-Gon Jinn's Lightsaber, not a great card, but it is interesting in the deck. 2 Improbable Escapes, which is good, and we'll talk about here in just a minute. And then 3 Will of the Force, which is, it's an okay card. First up, we're going to talk about Kelleran Beck, the Sabered Hand. This is a 7 cost command heroism ground unit, 7 power, 7 health, Force, Jedi, and Republic traits. When played, search the top 7 cards of your deck for a unit, reveal it, and play it. It costs 3 less, put the other cards at the bottom of your deck in a random order. This is an uncommon, number 100 out of 264 in LOF. This is a fantastic card. This is Light Side's Vader, basically, because you get to take 1 card for a unit out of the top 7, play it, it costs 3 less. So if it's 3, it's free. If it's 2, it's free. If it's 1, it's free. If it's 4, you pay 1. So you just got to make sure you have your resources aligned to be able to get the best value out of Kelleran Beck. But the best value out of Kelleran Beck is to play him, get your thing, and then drop a 6 with Qui-Gon's ability if you have the Force. So this is a very good card. One combo that was talked about by Joe O'Neill on the stream where all of this stuff was previewed is if you sneak attack Kelleran Beck in, pull one of the next cards we'll look at here in just a second, attack with the Kelleran Beck, and then bounce back to your hand, you can get a lot of viability out of that with the things that you're able to do. It does require a little bit of luck and a couple of cards in hand to pull off, but Beck is quite good and is a compelling case to run Qui-Gon as yellow-green instead of double yellow, which I'm thinking is going to be the best portion for him. But what about that unit that he can pull? Well, that could be Maz Kanata, the Light Guides. This is a 3-cost command ground unit, 3 power, 4 health, underworld traits. When played, you may attack with a Force unit. It gets +2/+0 for this attack. This is an uncommon, number 111 out of 264 in LOF. So Beck pulls a 3-cost unit from the top of your deck, which happens to be Maz Kanata. If you sneak attack Beck in, he's ready. Kanata can force you to attack with Beck, which ends up attacking for 9/7, which is a huge swing, and then you just pull Beck back to your hand with the ability of Qui-Gon Jinn, which is why the combo base for this deck is so prevalent, is so strong, because there's so many great things you can do that are very efficient, that gives you so many different ways of outpacing your opponent and doing some nasty stuff. Next up, we have Luminous Beings. This is a 6-cost command heroism force event. Put up to 3 force units from your discard pile at the bottom of your deck in a random order. Give that many units +4/+4 for this phase. This is a rare number 104 out of 264 in LOF. You're going to be running a lot of force stuff. Why not give 3 of your units +4/+4 as a result, which is really cool. But we've seen these effects be very, very interesting. Attack pattern, delta, unity of purpose, so on and so forth. We don't know if this is going to be super good. Encouraging Leadership is another one. Give all your units +1/+1. Or I think it's 3. Whatever. It doesn't matter what the case is. But we know that these effects don't end up being super good because it does require you to do something else. But the fact that you get a bonus health means that it's not just defeat at X health or less, or damage things can take you out. You don't have to worry about those as much. But you do have to worry about your whole board being exhausted, all your stuff being turned back to your hand. Defeat X units, or defeat all units, or defeat units, period. Those are things you do have to worry about. So for 6 cost, I think this might be balanced enough to see some play as like a 1 or 2 off, but it really does depend on if you can get that value and if you can play this in a manner where your opponent can't respond immediately and blow you out. So those are the good green cards from the deck. What about yellow cards? Youngling Padawan here is a 2-cost Cunning Heroism ground unit, 2 power, 3 health, Force Jedi traits. When played, the Force is with you. This is a common, number 193 out of 264 in LOF. Automatic 3 of in every Qui-Gon Jinn deck for the rest of Qui-Gon's existence, because you can use your 3s and 4s to go into this. If you have the Force from before, you pull your 3 or your 4 back, you throw the Youngling Padawan, you get the Force back. On your next turn, you can do that again. Youngling Padawan can attack to get the Force back, or whatever you do with the rare bases. It's just good. It's a 2/3. So it's not going to be doing as much by itself, but all you need to do is, when played, get the forces with you. No doubling it, because you can only have 1 force. This is just a fantastic card that's going to be an auto include in every single Qui-Gon Jinn deck from here on out. Speaking of automatic include in every Qui-Gon Jinn deck for the rest of existence, Depa Baleba, a higher purpose. This is a 6-cost Cunning Heroism ground unit, 5 power, 7 health, Force Jedi and Republic traits, Ambush, Saboteur, uncommon, 199 out of 264 in LOF. Depa Baleba comes out, smashes any single unit you want, because you can ignore Sentinels and shield. You destroy shields on the unit that you're attacking. As a 5/7, she's gonna survive. Lots of good stuff. You can do that. Then you pop her back into hand with Qui-Gon Jinn, because you've attacked with a Force unit if you're using a common base. And then you play Plo Koon for another ambush to either wipe out something or do other things and help clear your opponent's board. Depa Baleba for 6 is absolutely insane as a 5/7 ambusher. It's basically what every card wishes it could be. Again, automatic 3 of in every Qui-Gon Jinn deck for the remainder of existence. What the hell? Next up, we have Impossible Escape. This is more a tricksy event than necessarily good. I think it is good because it can potentially refill itself, but we have Impossible Escape, 1-cost Cunning Force event. You may either exhaust a friendly unit or use the Force. If you do either, exhaust an enemy unit and draw a card. At the cost of 1 plus the card and either exhausting one of your units or using the Force, you can exhaust any enemy unit and draw a card. That's all pretty good for 1 and 1 other thing to do. Let's say you don't want to have to worry about exhausting a unit. You're going to be getting a lot of Force tokens. So you use the Force, Impossible Escape, knock out one of your opponent's biggest threats for the turn, and draw a card to be able to do more things. That's pretty good. I can't complain. It is a pretty decent card. Is it as good as Waylay? No. Is it as good as something else that just exhausts one thing for nothing? No. But it still does something that interacts with what you want to do, and if you have leftover units on the board that can't attack or won't attack, you could exhaust your thing to be able to use your Impossible Escape, and that's pretty good. And then last for this batch, Qui-Gon Jinn's Lightsaber, 2-cost Cunning Heroism upgrade, attached to a friendly non-vehicle unit. When played, if attached unit is Qui-Gon Jinn, you may exhaust any number of units with a combined cost of 6 or less. This is a +3/+1 item weapon lightsaber, special rarity 201 out of 264 in LOF. So you can throw it onto your Qui-Gon, the unit or the leader unit to make them super powerful, and also exhaust down a number of units with a cost total of 6 or less. So one big 6 cost unit, 2 3 costs, 3 to 4, 3 2s, a bunch of 1s, whatever combination thereof makes up to 6 costs or less. You can do it with Qui-Gon Jinn's saber, and then Qui-Gon Jinn himself can just zzz somebody with the saber and cut some limbs off, which he never really does in Star Wars, but that's okay. It's a decent lightsaber. I probably would have liked to have seen something that allows him to attack one of those exhausted units. It's a decent card that potentially could see a 1 or 2 of when you flip your Qui-Gon or after you've ambushed in your other Qui-Gon legendary unit, which you probably aren't gonna do because it's not gonna stick around too long, but you never know. It's handy, it's useful, kind of like that one of Darth Vader's lightsaber that a lot of people played in Vader in SOR. This can do the same thing for that critical exhaust down your opponent's board if it's possible. Qui-Gon Jinn, like Youngling Padawan and Deba Baleba, just continue adding to the deck to make this absolutely one of the bangerest decks that's going to come out of this set. I will be genuinely surprised if at one point in Set 5's competitive expanse that Qui-Gon Jinn does not absolutely wreck an event. If it doesn't, that just means people aren't playing the game right. And that's the hill that I'm willing to die on. Before we get on to our next leader, we've got one card here from the remainder of the Spotlight deck cards, or something that was previewed thereafter. The way this came out was a little weird. And then we've got the 4 rare bases we'll talk about very quickly. So we have here Directed by the Force. This is a 1-cost command force event. The Force is with you. You may play a unit from your hand, paying its cost. This is an uncommon number 123 out of 264. Super easy card to use. It basically increases the cost of your next unit you're going to play within this action by 1, but it gives you the Force, so you can use that when played immediately if it costs you the Force, which is quite good. That's what you want to be doing. Green, this is probably going to be one of the best accesses to the Force is with you in green, so you can do things with your units. And because you get the Force and you also play a unit in the same action, sure, it costs you 2 cards to do, but it does allow you to do something that you wouldn't have had otherwise access to. Timely Reinforcements is another one of those super easy things to do. 1 cost ambush or 2 cost from Smuggle Ambush, 2 card cost to do so, but it gives you something you wouldn't have otherwise had access to. Now, in terms of rare bases, we have the Tomb of Elam. This is a 25 health cunning rare base. Action, exhaust a friendly unit. The Force is with you. So our cunning base, yellow base, whatever, wants you to exhaust your own units to gain the Force, which you can do multiple times a turn if you have multiple ways of exhausting your friendly units. This is a rare, number 28 out of 264. We're on Zepho. Love to see more Fallen Order reps. Next up, we have Mystic Monastery, 25 health command base. As an action, the Force is with you. You can use this ability no more than 3 times per game. Number 22 out of 264, a rare. So action, Force is with you, done, but you can only do it 3 total times. So the first time you place 1 epic action token on it, the second time you place a second epic action token on it, and the third time you use it, you put the 3rd epic action token on it, and then you're done. We have these tokens for a reason that do little markings here. Mystic Monastery coming out of Mortis, pretty cool. This will probably be one of the more used ones, especially if you only need the Force in specific actions and specific instances with green. Next, we have the Virgin's Temple on Lothal. This is our Vigilance base, blue base, 25 health. When the regroup phase starts, if you control a unit with 4 or more remaining HP, the Force is with you. This is number 19 out of 264, a rare in LOF. Blue likes a lot of big health units. Virgin's Temple basically says once per turn when the regroup phase starts, you get the Force because you're going to have something that has 4 or more remaining HP. Lastly, we have the Temple of Destruction, Malachor, one of the better episode sections from Star Wars Rebels in Season 2. 25 health, a red base. When a friendly unit deals 3 or more combat damage to an enemy base, the Force is with you. Number 25 out of 264, a rare in LOF. Basically, just do big damage. If you combo this with Cassian, if you want to go double red, you get to draw a card and also get the Force, which is kind of an interesting combo there. But previous to this, we saw the Knight Brother that's able to attack for 6. So he becomes a 6/7 with the raid 3. That allows you to trigger this to be able to get the Force. So even if he doesn't have the Force, if you're using this rare base with your Mother Talzin blue and red here, you have the ability of getting that Force pretty easily because dealing 3 combat damage to an enemy base is not tough unless they have a ton of Sentinels in your way. Those are the rare bases. The other 2 common bases we're not going to preview. It's basically just the last 2 colors, 28 health, attack of the Force unit, the Force is with you. It's super easy, right? Our second leader of the week is a character I actually like a lot. He's been pretty cool in Clone Wars. This is going to be your Jedi typal strategy, but we have Kit Fisto, Focused Jedi Master. This is our aggression, heroism, Force Jedi Republic leader. As an action, pay 1 and exhaust this leader. If you attacked with a Jedi unit this phase, deal 2 damage to a unit. As an epic action on 5, you can flip into a 1/6. Yikes. Except he's got Saboteur. Don't know what happened here with this thing. But this unit gets +1/+0 for each other friendly Jedi unit. So if you've got 2 other Jedi on the board, he becomes a 3/6, which is not great stats for a 5. So you need 3 other Jedi total to become a 4/6. But he's got Saboteur. There are combo potentials here that you can work with Kit Fisto to do some cool stuff. This is number 11, a common out of 264 in LOF. Draft leader, it's a draft leader. But by specifically focusing on Jedi, there are ways that you can put out more Jedi to do more Jedi things, so that way you do get the extra bonuses of Kit Fisto. Kit Fisto is probably going to be one of those ones that you save until you have 3 or more Jedi on the board, and if for some reason you have a ton of Jedi, let's say 5, this guy ends up being a 6/6 on 5, which is huge, but that also requires your opponent to do literally absolutely nothing about your board. 2 is probably what you're going to expect. 3 is going to be optimal. Anything thereafter that is pie in the sky. But Kit Fisto is here, ready to hack at somebody with his lightsaber and hopefully survive a little bit longer than the other Jedi did against Darth Sidious in Revenge of the Sith. Next up, we've got 2 previews by way of DragonriderTCCG. Link in the description below to their video. Fun stuff there. 2 cards there. Plus, we have an additional card that does tactically mesh with Kit Fisto. So let's start with Kit Fisto's Aether Sprite. Good hunting. This is a 5-cost aggression heroism space unit, 4 power, 5 health, Jedi Republic vehicle fighter traits. Saboteur, pretty good. Bypass sentinels, defeat shields. When played, you may defeat any number of upgrades on a unit. This is a rare number 147 out of 264 in LOF. The Kit Fisto's Aether Sprite does some really good stuff. It's a Saboteur in space, so it can bypass the tougher Sentinels that you have to deal with, like Bright Hope and Concord Dawn Interceptors. When played, you can defeat any number of upgrades on a single unit. So if there's a troublesome lightsaber out there, you can pop that. If something's got a big old stack of experience tokens, you can pop that. If something's got a pilot, an upgrade, and a shield, boom, 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 all of them go away on that one specific unit, so that's pretty good. A 4/5 for 5 is actually fairly expensive for those stats, but there are some fun things you could potentially do with it, and it is a Jedi, so it does mesh with Kit Fisto's leader ability of being able to do damage to a unit when this attacks, or gives Kit Fisto the buff on his leader unit side. It's a below average card, but it could see some play as a tech choice if there's more upgrade stuff we have to worry about moving forward, which there likely isn't. However, the second card we got, Chien Flurry, is a 1-cost cunning learned event. Play a force unit from your hand, paying its cost. It gains ambush for this phase. The next time it will be dealt damage, prevent 2 of that damage. This is an uncommon number 220 out of 264 in LOF. It's timely intervention, but for yellow and better. You can't smuggle it, so whatever, that's not that big of a deal. It is limited to a force unit, but the force units you want to ambush are going to be pretty darn good to be able to ambush. It gives all of your, if you're playing yellow with another color, it gives all of your red, blue, and green force units you want to play the ambush, and it also means they take 2 less damage on the crackback, which is quite good. We've got Cal here on the card. A lot of people think that because BD1 is yellow, because this is yellow, and because Stinger Mantis is yellow, that Cal Kestis is going to be yellow. I think that is likely. However, we cannot specifically say that that's going to be for sure, because Cal could be green for all we know. I'm really hoping that's not the case. Hoping Cal Kestis is yellow because yellow is the best color in the game, and I would like to be able to play at least one leader that I actually like in a very good space. But Chien Flurry, super good card, 3 of in every Force deck. Even if you're already running things like Depa Baleba, Qui-Gon Jinn, and Plo Koon, you still have other Force users like Ezra, like Ahsoka, that's able to strip a card from hand. Even the Padawan Learner can come in, ambush, give you the Force, and then it takes 2 less damage, so it could clear most things as a result of just being able to do that attack. This is a crazy good card for a color that does not need crazy good cards, because everybody agrees cunning is the best aspect. We have Adia Galia, Stern and Focused. This is a 2-cost aggression heroism ground unit, 2 power, 4 health, Force, Jedi, and Republic traits. When an opponent plays an event, deal 1 damage to that player's base. This is a rare, number 142 out of 264 in LOF. This is a very good card. It's a low cost Force and Jedi unit. It's a low cost Force Jedi unit with 4 health. It's a low cost Force Jedi unit with 4 health and relevant game text. This is probably the best 2-cost Force unit we've seen in the game, because it's going to be able to survive pretty much any turn 2 ambush, most turn 3 ambushes too, unless you're firing with something that does actually have 4 damage it can push out. It's not going to survive a Quinlan Tarkin Town combo. If your opponent plays a 2-cost, pings this, and then Tarkin Towns, just don't play it on that turn. But it is going to survive a lot of other different removal or require higher cost removal to keep it out of play. And when your opponent does use one of their events to do that, they're still going to take 1 damage from Adi Gallia, because it doesn't say it still has to be on the board. It just triggers and then resolves after the resolution of the event that is played. So this is a very good card. This is going to see a lot of play in decks that want that 2-cost Force unit, 2-cost Jedi unit. And because we are getting a bunch more Force and Jedi units, I think now there are 2 of them for yellow might actually come up in even more popularity, especially if combined with Qui-Gon and being able to do some very interesting moves to be able to get those multiple 1 plays, so on and so forth. But Adi Gallia by herself, very good card, very good unit, is going to see a lot of play and is probably going to be one of the top cards of the set. Next up, we have 2 previews directly from Golden Dice Podcast. We've got an event, we've got a unit, link in the description below to their video showcasing these 2 cards, plus a skit relevant to the 2 cards, or at least one of the cards. We have Nimon Strike. This is a 1-cost command learned event. Attack with a Force unit, even if it's exhausted. It gets +1/+0 and can't attack bases for this attack. Number 124 out of 264, an uncommon. This is a good card. We've seen things like this before that allow you to attack with exhausted units. The Frontline Shuttle from set 1, Dogfight from set 4. This is specifically for Force units. Again, it's another 1-cost to do something with a Force unit. It looks like this is a whole cycle for each of the colored aspects, which is pretty cool. Can't attack bases, obviously, but giving it +1/+0 is pretty good. And there's a couple of different combos you can work with this. You can work with this on an Overwhelm Force unit that allows you to deal the damage to your opponent's base anyway. You can use it while you have a shield to be able to negate the damage that you would be taking otherwise and knock out one of your opponent's pricier units that you wouldn't be able to do otherwise. Something that Roll On Gaming pointed out was this works really good with Revan, because you can use this to help get more of those experience tokens on your units because you're only attacking units, which is quite good. The second card we have here is Yaddle, a chance to make things right. This is a 2-cost Vigilance Heroism ground unit, 2 power, 4 health, Force Jedi Republic traits, restore 1, and then on attack, each other friendly Jedi unit gains restore 1 for this phase. This is a rare, number 45 out of 264 in LOF. Much like the previous Jedi we have seen, this is another 2-cost, 4 health, Force Jedi relevant text card, which is technically good in Kit Fisto, but is actually just a really good card overall. You can combo this with basically anything else that wants to see a low power 2-cost high health Force Jedi units, and it has restore. All the different strategies that combine with that is pretty good. Right here, it is another rare, so we're probably going to see potentially a cycle of these rare Jedi light side or heroism units that do have this in each color. I imagine we'll probably see a green one and a yellow one, but right now we've seen red and blue ones, which go very good in the traditional Force decks that are going to play them. Red goes really well with Quinlan. This blue goes really well with Rey. So lots of other different interesting things that can associate with these. And then obviously if you go red-blue with Kit Fisto, you do have a bunch of cheap Jedi that can pump his health, or excuse me, his power when he comes out. So I don't know if I said this is a rare, number 45 out of 264 in LOF. You guys don't care about numbers. You do care about rarities though, and it is a rare, so it's going to be a little bit more of a chase down, but Yaddle is here to try to make things right. And if you've seen Tales of the Jedi, you know that didn't happen. Great card otherwise though. And there you have it, this week's previews. All nicely neat put in for the ones that are important. We've got Qui-Gon support. We've got Mother Talzin support. We do have some Kit Fisto support, even though I don't necessarily think he's going to be a playable leader, even in limited. We've got the rare bases out, so we know how but we know the most reliable ways to generate the Force are going to be as they come from bases, plus some other cards that we've seen. Lots of interesting stuff going on with Legends of the Force. It's still wild to me that 2 weeks before the World Championship, we're going to have a meta-defining set set that comes out that everybody's got to try whatever they can to get it to stick. So far from what I've seen, I'm thinking we're still going to see a lot of the same leaders we've seen before. We're still going to see Quinlans, we're still going to see Rays, we're still going to see Sabines. We'll probably see some people try to keep pushing Piettes. We're probably going to see people keep pushing Cad Bane. Anakin might get a bunch of bonuses here in this set. Who knows? But in terms of what I can reliably say is that cunning is still one of the best aspects in the game, and this set is no difference because apparently cunning is the only thing that matters in Star Wars. That's all we have. Thank you for joining me, folks. Make sure to like this video. Comment down below what you think of the previews we've seen this week, how it changes your builds that you're currently wielding, how it changes the builds you're thinking about building in the future, what your most excited preview you've seen so far is, and anything else you'd love to express in the comments below. I would really appreciate that. It does help out the channel, does the things that make the algorithms go, hey, people actually watch these videos. Subscribe to the Star Wars Unlimited channel for all of your Star Wars Unlimited needs. I have been RybackStun. You have been my beloved audience. Thank you for joining me. That's all I've got, and I will see you in the stars.